Okay, how excited are we to be talking with Martha today? Extremely. And this is a treat for me because usually I'm in the audience with you guys, and now I get to ask the questions, but you will also get to ask the questions. So we're going to do a Q&A for about half an hour. Then we're going to have a 10-minute Q&A with all of you. So think up your questions, anything I missed or anything that you want Martha to elaborate on. But first of all, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask you, you are so good at spotting trends. I mean, obviously for your whole career and the magazine and everything you do online. So what trends are you seeing right now that you're really excited about? Or maybe that really horrify you? What's out there?
Well, let's see. There's one trend that's kind of irksome, and that is the eyes glued to the mobile device. And I don't think that's going to go away very soon. I think it might have reached its apex with the most recent stock debacle, the Snapchat.
Oh God!
But
yes.
But it's kind of interesting that people are so devouring other people's photographs of themselves, and I have to use some of this social media. Social media is the trend right now, I think, in every single business and every single personal life, and so that's one. I think that's the major trend, social media. But other than that, gardening is becoming more and more popular. It's a very, very up-and-coming outdoor activity, and I think it's number one outdoor activity now. Gardening.
Is that really?
Yes.
Well, I think you have a lot to do with that. Make it very accessible.
And animal husbandry, backyard animal husbandry, like chickens, is also growing exponentially. And that too, I think, I was one of the pioneers in the suburban chicken. So those are the kinds of things that I think are very positive.
Okay, I have to follow up both of those. So does anyone here have a paint color in their house named after one of Martha's chickens? I know I do, yeah.
The Araucana colors, yeah.
Yes, that's very...
You do? Which one do you have?
Oh gosh, I don't... It's more of a blue than a green, and it's very, very subtle, and it is all over our bathrooms, and it's just
nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is. All those Araucana colors were great.
Another question: does anyone in this audience have backyard chickens? Because I know a lot. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, I take that as positive.
That's fantastic.
Because there's only room for growth. But how many of you have a country house? That's really the other question. If you don't have a country house, forget the backyard.
No,
chicken.
Brooklyn, you can have. I have seen. You can. I mean, I don't know
like
how
bees,
legal it is.
Have bees too.
Well, bees, yeah, bees. We have no choice, but there are many, many of them. And then I want to follow up the social media question. So you hate it, but you were early on Twitter. You were right out there.
I'm an original investor in Twitter, and I actually like Twitter. I did like Twitter up to a certain point, like last November. A little hard to take right now, and the run over tweets, that's the worst. You have to run from 140 to 140 to 100, whatever characters, 140 or 180, I can't remember.
140.
Yeah, 140. All those characters that run into each other. I tell you. But that is an interesting way to communicate, and to a large group of people. And since my relationship with Snoop, which I know we're going to talk about, my Twitter followers has increased a lot.
Oh, really?
So I'm up to almost 4 million, and that's a nice audience on a regular basis. But I do limit myself to the use of all of these things. I have to do it for business. That's important. But and the partners all want to know how many you do on this and how many you do on that. But I personally limit my tweets to no more than 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And that's when you get into trouble is when you start to run on like our president.
Some people, do you feel like you're communicating? Like, do you get stuff back from people that you can engage with?
You get some pretty horrible stuff back. And another thing that you should never do is really read the comments. It's better just to say what you want to say and forget what anybody else is saying back.
I agree with you 100%.
Yes. And on Instagram too. I had a party on Saturday night, and I have a new business with QVC, and who would have ever thought that Martha Stewart would be making luminaria candles, you know, the ones that are battery run, and but they're really nice for outdoors, especially because they don't blow out and the wax doesn't get on your tablecloths, and we've had them all made, especially for the party, in these pale pink colors, and big ones, big pillar candles, and small votives, and I didn't say that they were artificial candles in the little description, in the caption. But my avid readers on Instagram all noticed, and they all said, "How dare you? I'm not following you anymore because you're using artificial candles."
Good riddance.
And that's why you cannot read the comments. Because you can't answer. You can never answer. If you answer, you get in a lot of trouble.
I think that's true. I mean, I do think a certain amount of reading, just to sort of take the temperature,
every now
is
and
good.
then.
Just peek in, but never answer.
I would not have guessed the vehement refusal to accept artificial.
And of course, I'm already thinking, oh, I'm going to get some of those Martha Stewart electric.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, I am.
So beautiful. Wait till you see our designs. They are so beautiful. They're coming in like in the fall sometime on QVC.
So what? Okay, well, I was going to ask you about Snoop later, but let's just go right in since you brought him up. You guys are hilarious, first of all. So what's it like? What's it like working?
Well, we just finished the new season, which the first season was 10 episodes, and now the new season is 20 episodes. Wow. And we just finished it. Most exhausting 2 weeks I've ever spent.
You did 20 episodes in 2 weeks?
2 weeks. 2 a day for 10 days straight. And for me, it's kind of interesting because I'm learning a new we call it a culture merge, because here I am, you know, the white woman from the Northeast and the man from Compton, it's hard to understand him. You have to get used to talking in rap and that kind of thing. You just have to. And I can really understand almost anybody who comes on. Lil Yachty, I had trouble understanding. And some of the guests are very difficult to understand. But if you make them do things, or ask them to do things, like we had two young rappers on, I can't remember what their names are, but they were like jumping jacks. And I said, just jump up on the counter. And they could jump up straight from the floor up to this high.
Wow.
with no aid whatsoever. They just jumped up and down like jumping jacks.
Could you do a recipe around that, you think? Is there possible to like butter, you know, up and down? Or?
They're dancers, you know, they're fantastic dancers. So if you can get into those kinds of rhythms with these guests who are unusual and talented, very talented, it's kind of fun. And everybody cooks. It's a cooking show. VH1 wanted us to do a show that was competitive like all the other shows, and we did not want competition because Snoop and I do not compete. He does his thing and I do my thing, and we try again to teach each other different methods and techniques and things. And he hates tongue. I do things that gross him out too, like it's on purpose. We did tacos. We did a taco show, and he was just doing his regular old taco from the taco stand in Compton. And I did my tongue taco, which I love, lengua. And I had the raw tongues lying around. And he did not like that at all. And crabs. I mean, he eats Alaska snow crab, but he didn't want to touch real crabs. And there were lots of jokes about crabs, and very, very silly.
So you were teaching him how to cook?
Yes.
Is he really learning? He's absorbing it, you think?
No, he knows how to cook. He's very good. He makes very good bacon. He cuts it up into 2-inch pieces, and then he stirs. He's constantly stirring. You can just imagine a 6'4" guy just stirring with wooden spoons. And he's good. He's very good.
What have you learned from him?
Well, I've learned rap. I've learned to stay away from his trailer. And he is a culinary expert in cannabis. He really is. And he grows it. He has a huge business. That's where he makes all his money, in the culture and manufacture of cannabis products.
Oh, really? And he does food products as well?
I don't know. I am not going to try that.
He doesn't want to get your special expertise on brownies?
No, not. He doesn't do so many edibles. He does a lot of ointments and other things, medicinal things too. But it's interesting. It's a different lifestyle. Oh,
I'm sure.
So and it's very popular. People like it. If you haven't watched it, it's coming on October. I think it's in early October, the new season, which is hysterical. It's more hysterical than the first season.
Oh, and the first season, what I've seen of it is just
funny.
Okay, do you want to
There's
talk?
a book there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. But not the Cooking with Cannabis book, maybe just a Do you want to talk about your new book, A New Way to Bake?
Oh,
or do you want to talk about your slow cooker book?
Oh,
or all of your
coming, and I'll be introducing that on August 13th, I think it is, on QVC. We're going to see how many we can sell on QVC in a few minutes. I have to interrupt my vacation in Maine to go down to Philadelphia to QVC headquarters, but slow cooker is really good. I have had a slow cooker my whole life because Mom gave me a slow cooker, I think for like an engagement present or something, and I probably still have the same slow cooker, but it works. And the simpler the slow cooker, the better. We have made delicious things in that, wonderful recipes. Like you can cook shawanmushi, which I love. That's the Japanese custard.
In the slow cooker? In the slow cooker. Do you start with soybeans, or I mean actual soy milk, or how do you do that in the slow cooker?
It's a custard. It's an egg custard with ginkgo nuts and shrimp and soy, like almost, liquid soy.
Milk, yeah.
And it is delicious. And it slow cooks. I mean, that's the whole idea of custard. Any kind of custard. Creme brulee is very good in a slow cooker. You don't realize how many things can be made beautifully in a slow cooker. You can do crisps and crumbles in a slow cooker.
But then they don't get crisp.
Well, you can put them in the oven for a couple minutes, but they're very delicious. And so there's a lot of good things in that. And in this book, The New Way to Bake, it's really introducing everyone to new alternative ingredients, like the spelt flour, like all the different kinds of barley flours and oat flour, and things that you don't necessarily have in your pantry. But if you keep a pound or two in your freezer, you can take certain ingredients and add to or replace other ingredients, the white flour, the white sugar, with these other things. And it's not to take away from the old way of baking, but it's a new way to bake. And it's very nice. There's some very good things in this book.
You know, what struck me about that book is that even though you're using a lot of whole grain ingredients, it's not abstemious. It's not like, I mean, it's good for you, but that's not the point. That's what it seems to me.
Well, it's not necessarily healthy.
Right.
It's not a no sugar, no eggs, no butter kind of thing. It's just baking with new ingredients. And so far the response has been very favorable. People are enjoying learning new things. And there's so many young people growing grains, grinding them into new kinds of flours, heritage grains. I had on my show recently, on my baking show that's on PBS, I had the wonderful farmer from Stone Barns on the show, and he brought me an ear of corn this long. It was pink kernels, pinkish red, and he said this is the original polenta corn from Italy that they've stopped growing pretty much everywhere, and Stone Barns has rejuvenated the breed of corn, and I now have a whole field of it growing in Bedford. He gave me
wow.
kernels of corn to grow. It's growing so strongly and beautifully, and I'm going to have all that wonderful corn to dry and make into my own polenta.
Did you try it? Were you able to have the polenta?
Delicious.
Is it delicious?
Yes.
How is it different from the regular polenta?
It really tastes like polenta.
Right,
I mean,
like corn.
Yeah, and it's pinkish, so it's more like a golden pink color when you cook it, not the insipid pale yellow.
Right.
It's a really deeper tone. Oh, you're going to love it. And I think the Stone Barns will probably be selling the ground corn in their shop up there at Blue Hill.
Did you discover any new exciting ingredient? I mean, you're saying a lot of these ingredients are new for readers, but for you personally, when you were researching this book, did anything come up that you hadn't used before?
We've been working on this stuff for a long time, and also working with all the different mills, from mills down in Georgia and South Carolina and Arizona. So I can't say that anything is like incredibly new to us, but there's lots of nice surprises.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was surprised when I was flipping through it. I was surprised, like for example, the way you use quinoa and just different things that I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, you can, and the different colors of quinoa that people don't realize, and it's very good. And I by the way, I just want to give credit to our kitchens at Martha Stewart. We have several really good recipe developers there and creative cooks that work with me and we can collaborate so nicely on so many of the recipes covering a big ground.
You know, I would love to hear about your collaborative process. How does it work? Do you all come up with ideas and then retest? Like, what's the process for coming up with a book?
Well, it generally starts, any ideas for new general cookbooks like this generally emanate from a story that we've done in the magazine. So, and we have a magazine 12 times a year, and then there are compilation magazines that require recipe development. I do the baking show on PBS, and that's we do three 13-week series a year, which takes up a lot of time and a lot of recipes, because that's at least 3 recipes per program. So we have a lot to develop, and it's we just finished a new 13-week series using many of these recipes with additions and alterations for the show, and people respond very nicely to it. It's a good audience, because the PBS audience is one that wants to learn, wants to know new things, and pays attention. And they're not just they're not trendy. They really want to learn.
And maybe as opposed to many of the Twitter followers that
they want you to bake for them and
right.
deliver it to their house.
Yeah. So you've written almost 90 cookbooks.
Well, 90 cookbooks and a few other books in there, like some garden books, a couple wedding books, some craft books. So it's going on 90. The 90th book will be published in this fall, I think it is.
Which is is that going to be the slow cooker book? Is that 90 or is
yeah, slow cooker number 90. Wow. So it's a lot of books over a period since 1982. It's quite a productive little factory we have going. I don't like to call it a factory, but it's a good factory. And we make a lot of good books and a lot of great recipes. And what's nice about it too is that they're well tested, well written, authentic, and all the things that you really want your recipes to be.
So how has your approach changed though over the 30-odd years that you've been writing these books? You know, is it different from what you were doing in the 80s? Has your food evolved?
Very different.
Specifically cookbooks.
Well, the first 10 years were I did every single thing I had to, and I had a couple people working. I remember Entertaining was that was a big book for a first book, because it incorporated all the things I was doing in my catering. And luckily I photographed. I remember saying to myself, if I don't photograph these parties that I'm working so hard to create and create some sort of legacy here, my grandchildren will not know what I did with my life. And they'll say, what did you do, Grandma? And who knew that I wouldn't have grandchildren until about, I don't know, 40 years later. So I didn't have to rush so. But I finally have a 5- and a 6-year-old, and they love that I write books. They love looking at them. They read the magazine from cover to cover. They love books, and I think that that's carrying on a tradition in our family of book loving. And they're not allowed to watch TV or they don't use their iPads for anything but very educational things. So so they read every day.
That's so great.
Lots of things.
Including Grandma.
Oh yes, definitely. But it's so the first few years I did a book a year. I mean, I was productive, and found my voice. 1982 was finding the voice. And I was already 40-something years old, 42 years old or something when my first book was published. And that's kind of unusual for a cookbook writer. You usually start earlier. I think many of the cookbook writers now are much younger than 42.
Yes.
And so finding your voice was important. I knew I could write something, but I didn't know that I could write cookbooks so nicely. And then as I started the magazine, realizing how all that development that goes on in the creation of a story could actually be used very nicely in books too. So it's changed. But now I'm finishing a book that I'm really happy with, flowers. So I've expanded. Of course, I love my gardening so much, and that's my real hobby. So Flowers is coming out in February, and that's a big tome. and it's growing, cutting, enjoying the flowers that you grow in your garden. And it's a lot of information and beautiful photographs.
And you do all that. You can have help with the research, right? I mean, I assume you'd have help with the research.
Yeah,
because it's a lot.
But I know I know all those flowers really well. And ultimately, I grew every flower in the book, and I grew everything that's in all the pictures. So it's again, it's authentic, and that word authentic is very important when you're an author, as you all know how important that is.
So I got this big box on my desk a couple of days ago.
You did?
I did. It was very exciting. And it said it was from Martha Stewart Wine Club. And I opened it up, and there were 4 bottles of wine in there. And I just took them home, so I haven't tried them yet. But Wine Club, do you know about this wine club? This is news to me. Yeah.
So it's Martha Stewart Wine Company, CO. And it's actually a subscription. You can treat it as a subscription if you like, or you can just send it as gifts, or you can just have it, just order it at will. And it's inexpensive wines. And my motto is for the company is pour the right wine and enjoy the right wine with your food. And I think that's where people get stymied, is that they don't know what the right wine is, and they don't know varieties. And so we've gone all over the world with our distributor and found growers who have excess. I mean, every grower seems to now have excess wine that they are willing to provide to a group like ours. And I taste, on average, every week, I would say maybe 60 or 65 bottles of wine.
Wow. Just for the company as you're growing.
It's sip and spit.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look at my schedule and it's wine tasting at 1 o'clock, and no way, I can't drink anything during the day. How many of you have had your Bloody Marys? But I can't drink anything in the day. Otherwise, I just want to go nap someplace. But I taste every wine, and I sometimes bring with me somebody who really is terribly knowledgeable in wine. Last week I had Mr. Barnett, who has written books on wine, and he's very knowledgeable, and he agreed with me on every choice. So we choose, and then on Tuesday this week we had 10 wines, and none of them were acceptable. So we're very discriminating, and we hope that when you get your wines, you will like them and enjoy them as you should. And they're inexpensive. That's the other great thing. I mean, you do not have to spend $60 for a white aligoté, for example, or a white Burgundy, or a good rosé, a Whispering Angel. You can still get good things from anywhere from, I think our prices range from $9.99 to $26.99 for wine. So it's good.
And you did it because you felt like people just weren't understanding.
Yeah, it's just a perfect extension of the food world that we are in.
So I heard also that you're expanding into China.
Oh, we are working with Alibaba, and I hope that we have a few products through our Macy's relationship on Alibaba now, but we expect that will grow into a much bigger business. Alibaba is a fascinating company. If you don't know anything about it, you should really read up about it. It is one of the fastest growing and interesting corporations in the world, and their annual sales are more than Walmart and Amazon combined. And it's run by a 52-year-old Chinese teacher called Jack Ma.
Wow.
Who looks like a little urchin, and he's the cutest guy. I love him. I've been to Guangzhou twice now to visit him, and he was here in Detroit recently, and I was in Detroit speaking at his big conference. He's so smart, and what he really wants to do is just put customers and sellers together, and that's what he does. It's not like Amazon where they buy inventory and they take it all in, but it's a very fascinating story, and there are books about his life and what he's done, and he's just a genius, and it's fun to know a person like that that's changing the world. Like Jeff Bezos has changed the world and made a lot of problems for a lot of people in this room. We know that with the books.
Yes.
We know.
He's not the most popular person in publishing circles, to say the least.
No, but he is awfully smart. I've known him since he started, so I count him as a friend, but he is really a visionary, and we have to cope with that. He's,
Yeah.
you know, he's ruining retail right now the way we knew it, and changing it. And it'll even out, but as he said, the Gutenberg Bible had 400 good years. Why not change?
Yeah. And as you see, Alibaba is doing something very similar in the Chinese market. And
no, they're different. No, they're not disrupting. They're not disrupting the shops, the bricks and mortar. They're just putting everything together in a different way. It's a different model. Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to food. Let's talk about your latest dinner party. What was your latest?
Well, that was Saturday. We had a dinner for 60, a sit-down dinner for 60 on my porch. You can look on my Instagram and see the table, the one with the candles.
Oh, that's with the candles. Okay.
And I have a big covered porch in East Hampton that will sit 100, but we only had 60. And it was a birthday party, a joint birthday party of a married couple friends of mine. And so it was a surprise. And they showed up an hour late, and everybody was getting hungry. And one doesn't eat fish, and one likes meat, so I did a grill, a big grill. We had big grills in the driveway, and we did tomahawk steaks, and we had Alaska red shrimp, and we had delicious herby lamb chops, and we had something else. Chicken, poussin from Iaconas, fresh killed little baby poussin. They were delicious. And all sauces with each of them, and cabbage slaw for my cabbages from my garden, and potato salad, red, white, and blue potato salad. And the hit of the whole party was those same, they're called Adirondack reds, blues, and whites. They're potatoes. And not Peruvian blues, which are kind of starchy, but these are delicious potatoes. And we sliced them paper thin and fried them in safflower oil, and the potato chips were the hit.
Oh, I'll bet. Red, white, and blue potato chips.
Yep. And we spent in 3 rows on a great big fish platter. They looked really pretty, and they were delicious. So that was the party. Okay,
I have to ask you one last question before I turn it over to you guys. Did you notice Martha's shoes? Doesn't everybody want to know about Martha's shoes? So I was going to ask her, and she said, no, wait until we get in here. And she can tell everybody about her fabulous shoes.
So Snoop and I give each other presents, just like sort of a joke. And I had given him a Rimowa suitcase, a gold one, and he loves gold. And he wears all that gold bling and stuff. And then, and so at the end of the first shoot, he gave me a pair of sneakers, Gucci sneakers. But they were ones with all those sharp studs on them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're silver and diamantes all over them. They were so horrible. And you can't take them back. You have to exchange them. So I exchanged them for 2 pairs of Gucci platform shoes. So I think I got...
You did?
I told him.
Did you tell him he was okay with it?
I told him. He liked these.
But I'll bet he kept the bag you gave him.
Oh yeah. He's traveling with that nice gold suitcase.
Okay, we have people coming around with mics, so why don't you put up your hands and...
Martha, I think I have that first cookbook, Entertaining, that my aunt bought for me from Connecticut, and you signed it to me. So thank you. I love it. And we live by all your books in my home. You're absolutely beautiful. I love talking to you today and hearing your stories. How much fun was it to be in Bad Moms?
Oh, my God.
You stole the show. It was great. I want to know, was it fun?
I haven't seen the movie. Was I good in it?
Oh, good.
That was fun, and it's nothing. The finished movie, I understand from the people who were with me, is nothing like the movie that was being shot. But that's the way that those guys shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, they just it's sort of like, you know, off the hip. They just go and shoot a whole lot of stuff and then edit it together.
Well, you stole it. It's
Oh,
great.
good, thank you.
We have a question back here.
Hi, Martha. It's a pleasure to meet you, so to speak. I actually have a question on behalf of my son. My son and daughter-in-law get the Martha Stewart and Marley Spoon food every week. I babysit. I always unpack it. I have never tasted it, but they say it's wonderful. And my son wanted to know: do you devise the recipes? Do you have final approval on the recipes?
The Marley Spoon, the team that's putting together the boxes works right in my office. And they are using, the reason we joined up is that we have about 25,000 really good recipes in our archive.
Mm-hmm.
And many of those recipes are being developed into the Marley Spoon box. So, so yes, indeed, we have a lot to say about what's going into the box, and I'm very proud of the flavors in the Martha and Marley Spoon box too.
Yeah,
these are meals. These are meal kit boxes that you cook yourself, but you have no waste. You're saving a tremendous amount of time without you don't have to shop, and you don't have to go to the grocery store, and you don't have to waste anything. And it's especially nice for vacations too. You can have them delivered wherever you are on vacation and have them and prepare your meals.
Well, thank you. That was his comment, that a lot of the recipes
thank
were so creative, and they really, really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
And maybe someday I'll actually get to taste one.
They're usually generous enough for 3 people to eat, a meal for 2.
As soon as they come home from work, I head out of there. I spend 10 hours with a 1-year-old. Thank you.
Ask them just tell them that you want to stay one night.
Hello, Martha.
Hi.
I know you cook at home a lot, but I was just wondering, in New York City, what's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, to eat at?
To eat at.
Oh my gosh. I like Japanese food, and so I eat a lot of Japanese food. I go to Sushi Yasuda, and I also go to Karuma Sushi, which is on 48th Street, and those are my 2 favorites. I like Maria, to sit at the bar and just have a pasta on my way out of town if it's like 10 o'clock at night or something after work. So those are the kinds of things I like to eat. I don't like long, drawn-out dinners in a restaurant. But I did eat at the bar at the new grill where the old Four Seasons was, and it was delicious. We had a very nice meal there. Yes.
In terms of your vegetable gardens, do you plant the same things every year? Do you change it up, or how do you do
Oh, every year is different. What do I plant in my vegetable garden every year? I travel a lot, so wherever I am, I go to the seed store. Sometimes it's really hard to translate seed store into some odd language, like, oh my gosh, sometimes it takes a while to find the seed store. But I go to the seed store and I bring home many, many new varieties of things. And you'll see a lot of that in the flower book, because just the poppies alone are no longer just orange poppies or pale yellow poppies. There are purple and lavender and mauve and black poppies that I've found seeds for elsewhere. So, I buy a lot of different seeds and try different kinds of. This year we have, I don't know, 13 different kinds of cabbages, and most of them are really good. The artichokes are not so good this year. I think I didn't plant the right artichoke, but we have lots of artichokes, and every year is different.
We have a question over here. Hi. I actually happen to live in Westport and came and see your house and garden tour 20-some-odd years
wasn't that
ago.
fun?
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
you inspired me to do an allium garden, so
Oh,
thank
good.
you. So I had 2 quick gardening questions. One is, do you have any tips on keeping out all the critters that we have? And 2, it's so funny you mentioned asparagus. Can you grow those in? They have great filler for flower arrangements. Can we grow them successfully here in these?
Oh, I have a huge asparagus garden, and we start picking in late. Let me see, January, February, April, May. In early May, we start picking the asparagus, and it lasts at least a month. And pounds and pounds and pounds of asparagus. Then you let the asparagus go to flower, really.
Right,
And it's
so
a beautiful
pretty.
asparagus fern.
Exactly.
And we use those. We just use them in a huge arrangement of white lilies. I think it was Tuesday was our last photo shoot for the garden book. And yeah, definitely.
So what is it, a seedling, an annual that you just plant each year?
It's a root. You buy the roots. You should look in the seed catalogs. I think probably Stark's has asparagus roots. Johnny's definitely has asparagus roots. You buy the root. You dig a trench and you put the roots in the bottom of a trench with lots of manure. And then you, as they grow, you cover them up until, and it takes 2 years. You have to wait 2 years to harvest.
Oh, okay.
Don't harvest the first year.
Okay. Thank you.
Patience.
Hi, Martha.
Hi.
So how do you find the time to do all your personal things in your home, your gardening and cooking and everything when you're running an empire?
Well, this morning I get up really early, and that's the way you do it. You can't lie around in bed. And I live in Bedford, so I have an hour commute. I get a lot done on the phone and in the car, and texting and whatever else in the car that hour. And I also read the newspapers. I try to. But I get up really early, and this morning I spent time, like 2 hours, going around the farm doing things, planning and directing and looking at stuff. So there's a lot to do. It's a lot of work. But tomorrow's vacation.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. I have 2 questions for you. As somebody who is, trying to start their own home, what are some recipes that you would suggest for somebody who really loves Southern food but has an Italian family background? And then, where do I get one of your shirts that says #BakersGonnaBake?
Oh, call up Cherry Bomb. They have the maker. They make a lot of things for Cherry Bomb. And she'll tell you. Call up the office. Isn't it the cutest? I gave one to Snoop too. But what was the first? Oh, the first part was Southern food. Oh, Southern cooked food. Well, polenta is grits basically, if you want to think of it that way. So you could be doing grits and shrimp. There's some very nice Southern recipes, simple things that you can. Oh, and pressure cooker. We're working on a pressure cooker book right now, and I just tasted the pork. The pulled pork takes 30 minutes in a pressure cooker instead of 5 hours in the oven. So and it tastes just as good out of the pressure cooker. So get a pressure cooker and start doing some of that freezing and fast cooking.
Okay. Hi, Martha. Hello.
Hi.
I am writing a unique cake decorating book, and I wanted to know, when submitting to an agent, would I submit just the first chapter? I'm very new to the process of that part of it, not the cake decorating, of course.
Well, you should definitely take your work to an agent. And can you have a face-to-face meeting?
I'm not at that point yet, but that would be okay. And I wasn't sure if when submitting, you would just submit one chapter with
I don't know how they're working here at this company anymore. There's a lot of companies here. There's Clarkson Potter,
yes.
There's Crown, there's Random. You could, I can give you some editors' names.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And I'll show you a photo. I have a photo with me. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we have time for one more question.
Cake decorating we need more cake decorating books. Okay.
One more question. Hi, Martha. I know you said you like Japanese food a lot. So sort of on that, what is your favorite meal to make? I know that's a really tough question. And is there any food you do not like?
Oh, there's really no food that I don't like other than things like, I won't eat brains, and I won't eat pretty much brains and I can't think of too much that I don't. I don't eat bugs, but I just like I like pretty much all food, and I like cooking all. I like challenging things to cook, and I like figuring out how to cook things. I'm now really concentrating on Chinese and Japanese cooking because I want to do I just finished the Foods of the Arabian Gulf for public television and for the Middle East. And I think, and they really love the programming. We tried to simplify and make a little bit more healthy the foods of the Arabian Gulf. And it's a little hard to do. We had to simplify the numbers of spices in each dish. And I want to do that for certain regional Chinese cooking, and I want to do that for Japanese cooking also. And so that's where I'm sort of going now, just trying to do more regional, international cooking and learning more about it.
So I want to thank Martha Stewart and Melissa Clark. Thank you for joining us. And I'll remind you, everybody got a copy of this book today, A New Way to Bake. So everyone got a copy. It's great. I think I want to give a shout out to Melissa because I think you have a pressure cooker Do you have a pressure cooker book?
Oh, yeah, October
everything
24th.
book,
Yeah, it's the Instant Pot electric pressure cooker multi-pot, and it's going to be great. So if you're interested in that kind of cooking, so October 24th.
Oh, wow.
And it's taking the recipes, just making them a little more interesting, because a lot of the stuff you get
Don't you find the
online.
pressure cooker is great?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. The pork, like you said. I mean, for me, beans, chickpeas, dried chickpeas. You don't have to soak them. From the second you take them out of the box, out of the bag, into the 45 minutes.
I know, my
And they're
daughter
amazing.
uses the pressure cooker every day.
Yeah. So if you don't have one, and both Martha and I are writing about it, so you know it is a good investment.
It's a trend. It's a trend. Anyway, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.